What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch, the place where we talk about all those nerdy things that you love to talk about. Thanks so much for joining us. While you're here, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever a new episode comes out every Wednesday at noon to see what we're talking about that week. Kind of like this week's topic, we're talking Godzilla versus King Kong. I am Brody Hanson, joined as always by Charlie Hickman. Charlie, how's it going?
Brody? It is going pretty well. I'm excited to talk about this movie with you. I watched this and King of the Monsters, and the other ones earlier. There's the Godzilla 2014 one, and then the Skull Island. But this week we crammed. We watched those two films, and so I've got my head is full of monsters, and I'm ready to rumble.
You're ready, man. Yeah. So, how long ago did you see the other ones?
Can I tell you that I saw Skull Island on an airplane, and that is not a great film.
Always a good place to watch movies.
On like a screen this big, not like on my iPad or my laptop or something, but on like the little monitors on an airplane. So, it was. It was fine. I thought, okay, it was not a great airplane movie, but I think probably one that would benefit from a second viewing. I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed it. Sure. Thought it was kind of nice, but I think I would have liked it more on a larger screen with better audio quality.
Sure. Yeah, I just recently watched all of these. Well, I saw the 2014 Godzilla, which for some reason to me just feels so separate from this universe. I don't know why.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Who can remember 2014? It feels like 3 lifetimes ago.
I remember I watched it at home. I didn't see it in the theaters. I watched it at home. And that movie is so dark. Like the picture itself is just really
You mean
dark.
the actual picture? Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't see what's going on, and they're underground and it's dark and I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. So that's kind of the only thing I really remember. I don't think Godzilla was in it very much. But then
he wasn't in it at all. It was very controversial.
I just watched Kong Skull Island and King of the Monsters.
You love Skull Island, right? Am I getting that correct? Am I getting my information is coming in?
Yeah,
you love Skull Island.
I liked Skull Island a lot.
Oh, he's changing it. I heard I got loved on the in-ear monitor from our producers.
Did I love it? I don't know if I loved it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun. And so I recently watched those probably just a few weeks ago. So I was ready.
That movie had Loki and Captain Marvel in it. I mean, who knew? That's good.
And Nick Fury.
Yeah.
And the Nova Corps officer from Guardians of the Galaxy with John C. Reilly. Come on, Charlie. Right. It's like your favorite movie, dude.
I do love me some John C. Reilly.
Sadly, John C. Reilly is not in this movie. I wish he was.
No, me too.
That would have been awesome. There was a whole bunch
it was
of
a noticeable lack of John C. Reilly.
There was a whole bunch of people in this movie that were new to the franchise. I don't know. Okay, well, before we get all there, Charlie, what do you think of this movie?
All right, so I know we're gonna start with some overall thoughts.
Yes.
And I want to be clear that this movie is exactly what you would expect it to be. So if you are watching a trailer for this film or have not seen it and are unsure if you want to watch it or would like it, just know that it is what it says it will be. It is a big action film with monsters battling, not a lot of real depth to the plot, not a lot of real insightful wisdom to be gained from it. It is the action sequences I feel really deliver, and it does what it's trying to do really well. And if that's what you're looking for, just like a little popcorn flick, I think it's a good one. If you're expecting this to make you real, get right in the heart, get little feels going, sure. make you really think, walk away, really contemplating the state of humanity and its role and the planet and nature and life. And this is not for you. Move along. There's nothing to see here. And as far as my thoughts, I probably am always going to lean a little bit more towards the guy that wants a little bit more substance in his films. So for what it was fine. Like I didn't regret watching it. It kind of flew by. I watched it with my kids because my son is a huge Godzilla fan. Of course, like 5 minutes in, my middle son's like, "This is stupid. Like a big monkey is gonna stand a chance against a giant lizard who can shoot like lasers out of his mouth." Pretty good.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
Yeah, so I watched it the other night. It was after everybody went to bed because it was a busy weekend. It was a busy weekend, and I was like, I need to watch it right now, or else I'm not going to be able to watch it. So I watched it while I was building my Lego Hogwarts castle, and
oh, Brody, not even paying attention to the movie.
No,
oh
I was.
Mm-hmm. We'll
And
see.
I'm
gonna quiz you on character names.
Ooh, yeah, character names probably not.
You better at least get 2 right.
I had a blast with this movie. I
knew you'd like it.
Was so much fun.
I knew you'd love it.
Oh man. Now, love it is strong. Do I love it?
No. I'm getting the producers are in my ear. They are saying you loved it.
Oh, okay. Well, there were parts of this, specifically like the fights, that I loved, and I can't wait to watch again. There's other parts of the movie that I was like, I don't, like the kids and the conspiracy theory guy. I don't really care. Like, can we let's get going. I want to get back to Godzilla versus King Kong.
Right.
And so there was some stuff that I was like, that could have been cut. But it was like, this was less than 2 hours. It flew by. I had a blast watching it.
Yeah.
I took some notes. I loved like the intro. I loved the first time that they fought on the boats. I wrote down, love the boat fight. And then they got to the city and I was like, oh wait, love the city fight more. So it was super cool. I don't know if they're making any more of these. I don't know if they have plans to. I hope they do though. I hope they do. I want a Godzilla versus Kong 2.
Yeah.
Where they can go and fight in the Hollow Earth. Oh man, it'd be so cool. Fighting in gravity. No gravity. Come on, Charlie. It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, okay. Can we just real quick? I mean, all of these versus movies where we're just kind of forcing characters to like battle for like no particular reason, whether that's like an Alien versus Predator or Freddy versus Jason or Batman versus Superman or King Kong versus Godzilla. This is like, let's be honest about what this is. This is a throwback to 2 people sitting in a bar or a living room or in a car and just going, no, Godzilla could totally beat up King Kong, and be like, no, Kong would totally destroy Godzilla because he's like more mobile and he's got a big, and it's just like a random bar argument. And they're like, all right, now we'll build a movie around it. And why will they fight? It doesn't matter. And what do we need other characters? It does
matter.
They don't matter.
It was a totally logical reason. There can only be one king. We learned that in King of the Monsters. And so now Godzilla knows that King Kong is out there. There can be only one, Charlie. There can be
and he just know, and he knows. I love that he just knows and he can sense it. Yeah. I love that they take the boat through waters and they're all like really scared that they're going to run into Godzilla because Godzilla's in the waters, and then Godzilla comes and completely thrashes them, and then they're like, you know what? Maybe we should just airlift him. Can we do that? And just completely avoid Godzilla? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and airlift him. And we'll go straight to the place where we need to be, like immediately, without any chance of running into Godzilla. This is definitely like a shut off your brain. You can't.
It totally is.
How heavy is King Kong that he can just stand on a battleship boat and not sink it? I don't know. It's fine. He can just walk on it. It's no big deal. Boats are very buoyant. Just don't overthink it. Don't worry about the millions of people that are dying in the cities as buildings are
Hong Kong
collapsed.
Is just destroyed. There's no coming back from that.
And I do love that they picked Hong Kong, right? A lot of tie-ins in this movie.
Yeah.
The girl from Stranger Things is in it, and then they go to the Upside Down.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So a lot of they did some neat plays with like the music, like there's like a 3-note melody that was in the original Kong that was kind of like that melody, and they added like a 4th note for this one. Like there was some neat like tie-ins, there's some neat little subtle things.
Sure.
It was fun, but yeah, I mean, come on. This is just like, let's let the monsters fight.
Totally.
Don't let's not try to make it sound like the plot was real, substantial or made a lot of sense.
And it doesn't need to be anything else. They could have had less plot and more fighting, and honestly, I probably would have liked it even more.
I know, like the humans like were the worst part of this, and I kept finding myself wondering, why didn't they just have the same humans running throughout all the movies? Like, why not have like a set of characters? Why not have like the people that were in Skull Island be the people that were caring for Kong in this movie? And
because they would have been super old. It took place. Took place in the 70s.
So make them old. Great. They're the same characters. Let's tie it in. Every movie they're like introducing new characters. They start the King of the Monsters with like a family, and I had to go back and look. I'm like, did I miss their kid getting wiped out in the first Godzilla? Were they in that? No, they weren't in it. So it's just like a dead kid off screen, which is sad. And then oh gosh, I did not like King of the Monsters, by the way. Like the people part. Okay. The monster fights were cool, but the people part, the mom going like, oh, you know what the civilization needs? Armageddon. Yeah. Let's kill everyone, and then going like, you know what? Killing everyone maybe not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see this coming. I could not have foreseen all the death of people when I said the death of people. Yeah. And it didn't make any sense. Sure. And if you're gonna put like try to give real motivations, it should make sense. It should be like, hey, if she's thinking society needs an overhaul, why start with all like the people? Anyway, I guess we don't need to get into the politics of King of the Monsters, but like it didn't make it was really badly.
Kyle Chandler was like the main guy in King of the Monsters, and they brought him back for this movie
for like a phone call
for like 2 scenes. And,
hello.
And it was like, oh, where's my daughter? Like, oh, you're in Hong Kong. Okay. And then he's there at the end of like, oh, I was so worried about you. And I'm like, where have you been? Like, isn't this your specialty?
Who does the daughter live with? Like, anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. So it was weird that, we got like a whole new crop of people. And yes, they're more like Kong-centric, Kong-focused people. Kyle Chandler was more of a Godzilla guy. But I don't like... Why couldn't it have been Kyle Chandler with his daughter going, why do we need like comic relief conspiracy theory guy? I don't know.
Bernie,
Bernie, who's washing himself in bleach daily. Daily, he's washing himself in bleach.
I mean, I love that like they have this secret facility that's so discreet and so secret that no one knows what they're doing, that they're building this mecha Godzilla, that no one has any idea that this is happening here. Why would Godzilla attack this facility? No one has there's no oversight because it's so secretive. And yet simultaneously, there's just a dude who's got like this podcast with enough reach that the daughter's here and everyone knows, and he's just able to kind of like waltz around and like get data and like
and he had said like, I've been working there for 5 years, and it's like, so you automatically get like high level clearance to everything because you've worked there for 5 years.
Look, I mean, they make the plot simple. They don't want things they did, I guess, to be fair, they didn't slow the movie down too much with the people. Sure. It just kind of like they served as very like, it was very contrived and very convenient. They we're trapped in this pond, and now we're at the Mecha Godzilla testing, and so it just, let's just keep things moving. Don't let the humans get too much in the way, and let the monsters fight. And that was, I could have done with less humans, and I think that we could have gotten more out of the humans with less screen time if it had just been a consistent group of humans from Skull Island to Godzilla 14, from Godzilla 14 and all. It's like if they just had like the same people kind of tied together, same family, same lineage, sure. It would have been cool.
Sure.
If they just had the same names, like older people from like the Skull Island, and you're like, oh sweet, it's like old Brie Larson.
Old Loki.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Jack Black.
Overall, Jack Black.
He was in the the Peter Jackson Godzilla.
Yes.
I don't know,
Yes.
or not Godzilla. It's
King Kong.
King Kong. Now you got me doing it. You got me doing it.
My goodness.
Just testing you.
So overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to show my kids. I can't wait to watch the fight scenes again and get excited about that, and probably zone out when a lot of the humans are around. But I really enjoyed it. I had a blast watching this movie.
My oldest said he loved it. He loved the monsters fighting. He said, you know, we didn't really get to see a lot of blood from like the humans getting squished or whatever. He was a little bit disappointed in that. So that might be something I need to deal with later on. But for now, it's just cute when he says it. Dad, there wasn't enough squishing of people. You're right.
So overall, you like it?
Look, overall, and there's been a few movies we've talked about in the history of this podcast where I feel this way. It's like a 6 for me.
Okay.
It's like a fine popcorn flick. It's like a good action film with the family. Not a lot of depth, not a lot of substance. It's one that I wouldn't mind watching again, but not one that I'm going to go out of my way to see. It's probably something more like if I did watch it, I'd rather watch like scenes of it rather than watch the movie in its entirety. Just give me the monsters fight, and you know that's it for me. Like I don't need to see the kids and the Alexander Skarsgård having like 4 or 5 wooden lines here or there. I'm also in the movie.
Well, there you go. There's our overall thoughts. So now,
what would you give it, by the way, on a 10?
7.5.
Okay.
I like it.
I'm gonna up mine. I'm 6.2. I'm gonna up it.
6.2. Oh, we're going off a 100 point scale. Gee whiz.
With your decimal scoring.
Well, 7.5. You can go off the 20 point scale easily. So, whatever. Okay, Charlie. So let's broaden our talk. Charlie, take us through the plot.
All right. Now, I was tempted when you told me that I was going to be doing this to give you the real short version of the plot, which is like I could probably do in like 13 seconds of like because there's not a lot of plot, but instead let's journey through the movie together because maybe you're like I don't really want to watch anything but the monster fights, so I'm going to watch the monster fights, and then you can just listen to this podcast and we'll fill you in on what you missed. So first of all, you should watch the opening because we get sexy Kong. I mean, he is
scratching his butt,
scratching his buttocks. He is like lounging in waterfalls. He is living his best life. Oh my goodness, he is looking. He's looking like this, like just real like sensual Kong. And Godzilla's like now I'm in because there's a really there's a hidden love story in this movie.
Take it down. There, thank you. I don't like that. You can retire that one.
No, it's so good. He's like,
no, I don't like it. I don't like
that opening was really funny, and I did like that a lot. I thought they did a nice job, kind of right away showing you, okay, we're on the Kong side of this conflict.
Sure.
They're giving him like these anthropomorphic features. They're making him, he's swinging an axe for crying out loud. Very humanized version of Kong. But anyway, so then there's this little girl. Let's call her. I remember if it's pronounced Gia. Yeah. And she's the last little Kiwi native.
Super.
She was really cute, and she's a friend of Kong.
Yeah.
And so she's she's hearing impaired, so she's doing the sign language, and we do find out later that Kong is also doing a little bit of sign language. And I watched a spinoff with just those two doing like a like a Thelma and Louise kind of thing.
Yeah. There you go.
But anyway. Then he's got the big spear. He throws the spear, and it turns out they're in like a Truman Story kind of testing facility here. That cracks the panel, and like little doodads and doohickeys start to fall down from the sky.
Apparently, Skull Island in the Pacific Ocean. It looked like just kind of southeast of Hawaii. That's not where I thought Skull Island was. I thought it would be in the Atlantic.
Well, it was. It floated. So, I mean,
it's mobile.
Yeah, I mean, look, islands are always shifting locations. You guys can look that up. That is science. They're very fluid. If you,
but it had access
on an island runs
to
one
the
side.
hollow Earth. How does that work?
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'll explain it to you when we get there, because definitely, if there's one thing I can tell you for certain, this movie followed the science. It it definitely followed the science. This is kind of like this opening, and then now we cut to like really it's two stories that are kind of happening throughout the movie. You got your Kong side and your Godzilla side. So now we're cutting to the Godzilla side. Brody's favorite character, the conspiracy podcast guy, Bernie, is, he starts in his car. It's looking very dire. He's going to go in. He's going to, get this info because something nefarious is happening in this facility.
I did note his podcast. He calls it the TTP podcast, and I was like, TTP.
What did it stand for? I don't remember that.
Titan Talk podcast, something like that.
Should we change our name? Should we be the Titan Talk podcast?
Nah.
Okay. No. Let's say we talk punch. Okay. Well, we're gonna sue them for copyright infringement.
There we go.
Because we had it first.
Yep, we did.
So cease and desist, Bernie. I'm not spending a weekend at that guy's house. All right. So so before he can get all the information and start the podcast, Godzilla attacks. And we get our first, monster sighting. Like we see Kong before, but our first battle sequence, and he's just killing everybody. He's destroying things. There's no death toll numbers on this, because they don't show the deaths; they're just more implied. But I have to imagine that this would be in the hundreds of thousands of total deaths in this, and maybe even the millions. But so Godzilla attacks. Then you get your other two favorite characters, Madison and her friend Josh, who is played. I talk about people that really didn't belong in the movie. She really didn't need a little sidekick. The kid from Deadpool
2, yeah. He didn't do anything. I don't know why he was
did
there.
not.
He did.
Yeah,
not.
And at one point later on, he's like, "This isn't anything at all like pirating music," or it's. Yeah, he didn't serve much of a function other than to be comic relief without anything funny to say.
Yeah, but he wasn't funny.
I know. It was very. They just needed Madison to have someone to bounce ideas off of, I guess. Or to have some kind of dialogue so she wasn't by herself. But
or that it wasn't just her and Bernie traveling around the world together.
Yeah, I guess that might be. But I think it would have made more sense to have the dad. But whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever. Or a kid that knew how to do stuff, make him useful.
Yeah.
A useless kid.
For sure. Now, I don't remember if it was before or after the Godzilla stuff, but the intro credits was that before the Godzilla stuff?
Yes. So that's after Kong.
Okay. I loved those. I loved those.
Yeah.
They had like the fight tournament brackets that were going down on Kong side, and then the fight tournament brackets that were going down on the Godzilla side, and then they come together. Oh man. I thought that was so cool. I was watching it and I'm like, oh, that's such a cool idea. I love it. I love it.
You just want to see a Royal Rumble with all the monsters in there.
I do. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I wanted to point that out because I loved that so much. I was like, I love it.
All right. So as we talked about earlier, apparently Bernie very easy to track down.
But everybody knows who he is.
Immediately they find him, and then they're like, "Hey, well, I guess why don't we, let's turn this duo into a trio?" And then they're almost immediately at the Mechagodzilla testing. It all happens very. Very conveniently and very quickly.
Yeah.
We kind of scuttle through this, and that's good because whatever. So they're observing, so now we get to see this Mechagodzilla testing, but they need more power. But where will they get more power, Brody? Where will they get it?
I don't know.
And that's where we get Walter recruiting Nathan Lind, who is a former Monarch scientist turned Hollow Earth truther. The Earth is hollow in the middle.
Is this a real thing? Is Hollow Earth a real thing that people think is real?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's real, bro.
Is it
yeah,
really?
I've been there. And so when you get there, and this is where the science really comes in.
Okay.
Is a lot of people think the Earth has a core, but within that core is basically Skull Island.
With
almost a carbon copy of Skull Island, but just parts of it are upside down.
Okay.
But that's what the center of the Earth is. And if you ever watch the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth, that's where they're trying to get to, but sometimes it didn't work out.
It looked like it had its own sun. Like, where was all the light coming from?
It's a wormhole, but you really got to understand wormholes to understand the science here.
Hey, I know wormholes. I love Event Horizon.
Well, all right. Well, so actually, Event Horizon takes place in the same universe.
You take the piece of paper and you fold it, and then you put the pen through, and then you unfold the paper. That's how everybody in the movies explains it. Wormhole, Charlie.
And then suddenly you're in the center of a skull island that happens to be a hollow center of the earth. Look, if you had asked me a few years ago if there were such a thing as flat Earth truthers, I would have said, no, of course not, Brody. This is what are you talking about? This isn't like 1600s. This is 2000 whatever, 2010, 2015. But no, apparently there are people, and they paid a bunch of money to have a documentary only to prove themselves wrong. And you can look this stuff up. It's kind of funny, but also sad that we are in a place where I don't know. Anyway,
I didn't know if that was like a real thing that people believed.
I wouldn't be surprised. My instinct is to say no, nobody really thinks that, Brody. but then there are others that are like, well, we've never been to the center of the earth. How do you know it's not hollow? Prove me wrong, Charlie. You and your science. Have you ever been to the center of the earth? Oh, I didn't think so. And that's exactly how they sound. So anyway, he's a hollow earth truther. Yeah. His brother died trying to get to the hollow earth because, I don't know, he flipped upside down and got crushed or whatever. And that's about as much character development as we get for Mr. Skarsgård. And he has like 6 lines after this. It's a very weird part. And he's very, very, very cardboardy wooden character. Anyway, not my favorite part of the movie. So they sedate Kong, and as we talked about earlier, decide to float him on a boat.
How'd they get him on the boat?
As an excuse, so there could be this really cool water fight scene with Godzilla.
How'd they get him on the boat, though?
And then they airlifted him onto the boat because it was, and then they're like, let's float him across. Could we airlift him straight to where we want to be? Of course.
That would be a lot of fuel.
It would be a lot of fuel, and quite frankly, okay. Time out here. Can we talk about how many? So this is the 4th installment in this particular universe, right?
Do they call it the Monsterverse? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so. So we've seen Godzilla now in 3 of these movies.
Yeah.
Including this one.
Yes. Do
they hate pilots? Because in every movie, they're just like, hey, let's send our pilots to go fly at Godzilla. And they just get annihilated. Pilot after pilot after pilot. And they keep sending them like, this will work this time. We have these tiny little machine guns and these maybe like little missiles. And this is the one that's going to obliterate Godzilla. No, they just keep sending these pilots to die. Pilot after pilot. And none of them are like, hey, you know what?
They were ejecting.
Into his mouth. At some point, one of the pilots has got to be like, I'm flying out of here. Like, I am going the opposite. I'm not going to fly at Kong. And they're flying directly, like the bad guys in the hollow earth. They fly right at him. And he's like, crush. Yes. Shoot him with our tiny little pea pellets. Anyway, I know it looks cool when the monsters are like swatting planes out.
Sure.
Like the circa the 1933 Kong film.
Yeah.
So I get why they put the visual in there, but I did just at some point I'm just whacking my head like, all right, can we just stop having the airplane guys just fly right at the monsters? Just let the monsters fight. We don't need the humans involved in this in any capacity.
Sure.
But anyway, the fight was pretty cool. You want to talk a little bit about the fight? Because I know you loved the.
I loved this fight.
Sequence.
So it started with Kong being chained, and we got some nice stuff before that of like him kind of waking up on the boat and like in the rain,
signing with the girl.
We figured out that he learned sign language, and so he always wants to go home, right? His home, something like that. But then he's chained by his neck and his hands and his feet, and then Godzilla shows up, and Godzilla starts like tipping the boats, and so at one point King Kong's boat gets flipped, but he's chained, and he's like, is he gonna drown? Well, no, of course he's not gonna drown, but it was cool, And then
how did Godzilla know where Kong was?
Vibrations.
So how come Kong didn't think that? So, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. So he finds Kong because like he can sense that Kong is there.
Yeah.
And then they shut off their boats and pretend that he's won the fight and they're all destroyed. But Kong's very much alive, and he's like, can't sense him anymore. Off I go. Also, I'm Obi-Wan.
He was like unconscious. Kong was unconscious.
So it's conscious vibes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Science, kids.
And so,
Right.
so the gal who's been working with Kong, pulls the release, and so all the shackles and stuff come off. So he's able to get up onto the boats, and so then we get some underwater fights. We get some boat fights where Kong is like jumping from boat to boat. Yeah,
And they don't sink.
No, well, they're boats, Charlie.
They're boats. They're very buoyant. They float. That's what they do. Not like you could sink a boat, right?
It's true.
Be like swatting an airplane out of the sky. Come on.
But yeah, so this was really neat. It was neat, when
Yeah, it was a cool looking fight.
When Godzilla wraps his tail around Kong and tries to bring him down, and just all this stuff, all the battle stuff. This was one of the things that I was like, this is why I'm watching this movie.
And of course, Godzilla wins the fight, as he will win all of the fights.
He won like all the fights, man.
Well, he's a superior monster. He can literally shoot like fire and lasers and things.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be like Superman with all his infinite powers fighting Batman, who's like, "Hey, I'm a guy." Anyway,
I was surprised that Kong lost as much as he did.
But he couldn't win. I mean, he just couldn't. It wouldn't make any sense.
But he never gave
for
up,
him to
Charlie.
win.
Never gave
That
up.
is true. He never gave up. The heart of a champion. I mean, look, I'm not saying I wasn't rooting for Kong, because I love me some Kong.
Sure.
Fun fact, I did see, what was it called? King Kong Lives in the movie theaters as a kid. It is also, fun fact, one of the lowest rated films of all time. I think it's got like a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, or at least it did at some point. It is like a 3 something on IMDb. I think that you could probably...
When did that come out? Was that the 1986 one?
86, yeah. So it was and the love story with Kong and his lady friend.
Yeah.
People did not like it, and it was my introduction to the character of Kong. So basically, everything has been up. The needle has been up since. Like everything is better than that.
Sure.
So all right. So the battle's over. They decide now we'll airlift him.
Sure.
They
were closer to where they were going.
Yeah, much easier, less fuel. So
exactly.
So now we get to the Hollow Earth stuff where they go through this, I don't know, tunnel, wormhole. It's not really a wormhole, but it doesn't really make a lot of scientific sense.
And they had these really cool ships from the Apex company.
And this may shock you, but the Apex company had nefarious motivations. I was shocked by that. It was quite a twist.
They were the ones that were making the Mechagodzilla.
So you get down there, like the Skull Island. I like Skull Island 2 is what I call the Hollow. It still looked cool. Like the visuals were still neat. It didn't make a lot of sense. Cool. You just shut it off a little bit, and you just enjoy it. Like I thought it was neat. They had the throne. They had like some art depicting like past battles of like Kong type against Zilla type. Yeah. He finds his axe glowing with power, and the power source. And so Godzilla senses the power, and then now we got some problems again.
And Kong was able to put the axe into the ground, almost like a key, to like recharge it. And then one of the humans are like, he's charging up the axe like a battery, and I'm like, how do you see that? Like, that axe is huge. All you see is glowing. What are you talking about? But yeah.
Yes. So basically, look. Now we get the motivations for the power source, which we already knew. I mean, look, all of this has been very well telegraphed and or explained already by the bad guys monologuing.
Yep.
Kong destroys the remainder of like the bad guys, and Godzilla's wrecking things, and so they're escaping, and they go back through the tunnel, and suddenly they're in Hong Kong, and this is where we're going to get to like the final sequences here.
Well, but before that, okay, two things. We got like some bird things that were.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there was some like prehistoric,
creepy as all get out. They looked like hairless, like chicken bats or something. I don't know what they were.
That's actually what they were. They were called the hairless chicken bats. You can kind of look on their IMDb page.
They were so ugly.
They're really cool.
They were so. I'm watching it. And I'm like,
Brody,
my gosh, that is such an ugly animal.
There is a stigma right now against hairless chicken bats, and I feel like that you sitting here and adding to the. Don't pile on. Don't punch down, Brody. They are beautiful creatures.
They were so gross. And then the way that they get out of the upside down, the hollow earth, is that Godzilla uses his breath, his fire breath, to blow a hole from Hong Kong all the way down to hollow earth. Like, I don't know how the earth handled that, where now there's just a giant gaping hole to the center of the earth. Like, that's got to throw something off, somewhere.
Not a thing.
It's just a giant hole to the center of the earth.
Don't question the science, bro. Don't question the science.
I laugh because you saw it coming.
Yeah.
Godzilla, he's like
tunneling down with his fire breath
to zap down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's blowing a hole
all the way down,
to the
baby,
center of the earth. What do they do at that point? You can't fill it? Like, what did Hong Kong do? They just have a hole.
Now you can just fly through there. Now it's like opening up a new way to travel across the world.
Oh my goodness!
It's like cutting our travel time in half.
All those prehistoric animals are just going to start flooding up, and it's bad.
I mean,
it's bad news. That's
this movie's real bad news for the human race. I mean, basically, just. No thought of human life in this, except for like the random annoying characters that we have to deal with. So anyway, so the survivors end up escaping through this new gaping hole in the earth, fast travel to Hong Kong, and here we are. Now we get our big showdown here, our big Godzilla versus Kong battle, our battle royale, our clash of the titans, our fight to the death, and Kong's got his axe and his muscles, and Godzilla has his rays and things that he can shoot and scaly skin. They made him real ugly in this. They made Kong look very fluffy. Yeah, they made Kong look very fluffy and very human, and Godzilla looks very reptilian, very cold, very scaly.
Well, that's what he is, though.
I know. But look, they highlight they add humanness to Kong, and they add more of just the way that his skin was broken up. They could you've seen a lot of different versions of Godzilla, including the 1980s cartoon with Gadzuki, Godzilla's cousin. And they look like little dragons. They're very cute. Sure. So you can bring out different features to kind of humanize or to dehumanize the characters, and they kind of very clearly made like a conscious choice to make Godzilla cold and reptilian, and which is the character, sure. Yeah. But you could play that in a couple different ways. In the original Godzilla versus Kong in like the 60s, by the way, there was a big fight between Godzilla and Kong, and Godzilla basically kills Kong, except then there's like a lightning bolt from heaven that like hits Kong and revives him. And then he comes back and they like battle, and they fall into the sea, and then Kong's the one that comes out, and we don't see Godzilla. So it's like maybe he died, maybe he didn't. And it's like amazing that they kind of just did that here, or sort of like Godzilla defeats Kong, and then they zap him with like this ship, like a defibrillator. Yeah. Kong's on the ground. He's like, call an ambulance, but not for me. And he pops up and he's got his axe, and they're battling Mechagodzilla. Why don't you walk us through your favorite parts of this fight? And because so Kong Godzilla and then the Mechagodzilla part, Give us your breakdown.
Well, so we had Kong versus Godzilla at first. And so that's where we've got Kong using the axe that he found that is like a scale from a Godzilla type creature on a stick. And so that was neat. So yeah, that's what it was. It was on a stick.
So I said on a stick. I couldn't have said it better myself. Go on.
Okay. And we find out that when Godzilla shoots his fire breath at it, it can kind of like absorb the spike axe thing can absorb the fire breath.
Which odd choice, by the way, for him to continuously shoot the axe during their one-on-one fight.
Godzilla was King Kong was really good at using it, so he could just always get it in front of him. He just
hold it here, and Godzilla would just aim right at it.
Yeah.
I can't move my head.
But we got some really cool visuals.
We
just
really
going through.
The city
Hong
looked
Kong.
awesome.
The city looked awesome.
Yeah,
they're just going through buildings. King Kong is jumping off buildings like I don't know what the structural integrity of all of those buildings was amazing. That you could have like King Kong like jumping off
doing
of these
parkour,
things. Just like right off of these buildings. But really cool visuals, using the axe.
Yeah.
But man, like King Kong was just getting beat up so bad. He was getting slashed, he was getting kicked and punched, and just like his chest was just getting scratched all over. And then we got at some point he hurt his shoulder. I don't remember how that happened. Did he get thrown into a building or something like that?
Yeah, or one of the many wounds that he suffered.
It was something.
Yeah.
And then he's like down on the ground, and we get Godzilla like standing on his chest. Very Batman v Superman style. It was like 1 foot on the chest, and just. And
then Kong looks up and he says, "Martha."
I've actually.
And Godzilla's like, "How do you know her name?"
I've seen some stuff online that he actually said Mothma.
Mothra.
Mothra.
How do you know her name?
Mothra.
Pretty good.
So then they like roar at each other, which was kind of neat. And then Godzilla's just like, "Yeah, you're done." So he starts walking away, and then King Kong is dying, and the little girl can tell that because she can hear his heart slowing down. And so then at that time, then we get Mechagodzilla coming out. And so now
he basically destroys the human bad guys like instantaneously.
Yeah.
Like that's the fastest I've ever seen 2 human bad guys die.
Oh
he
yeah.
kills like the goatee man.
The president of the company, which actually did have a funny scene with Bernie, because the president guy started talking, and then Mechagodzilla like swipes through and kills him, and as they're running away, Bernie was like, "I wanted to hear what he was saying," or something like that, and it made me laugh. It was also funny that when the humans first saw Mechagodzilla, one of them was like, "It's like Robot Godzilla," and another character was like, Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, that was the kid. That was like the random kid that had no purpose for being there. Like, not a Robot Godzilla.
Other than the name.
Mechagodzilla.
So Mechagodzilla became sentient before he was controlled by a person through the skull.
There's
of
like King Ghidorah mixed in there, and
something. I don't know how that all worked.
The science of that you can find the scientific breakdown online. So just go to KingGhidorah.com, or maybe it's King Ghidorah possesses Mechagodzilla.com, and it'll give you like a walkthrough of that.
Okay. So then Mechagodzilla was just on his own. He was just doing what he wanted. And so Mechagodzilla comes out to fight Godzilla. And that was a cool fight. We got to see Mechagodzilla's red fire breath as opposed to Godzilla's blue fire breath.
Yeah. It's like an ode to Star Wars, perhaps, the red lightsaber versus the blue lightsaber.
Maybe. And this was a cool scene where Mechagodzilla was just beating the snot out of Godzilla. That was a pretty one-sided
In Godzilla's
fight.
defense, he had just had a huge fight with Kong. It was a little unfair. This
true.
is like being the first guy in the Rumble, and then the fresh kid comes out last, and it's tough.
Yeah. And so then Kong is able to wake up after they zap him with one of the ships, and the little girl tells Kong that
he's actually a pretty good guy.
He's okay.
We've hung out. He's all right.
He's not the bad guy.
I've been signing with him a little bit. We've been having a little bit of a relationship.
He just killed you, but he's not the bad guy. The other guy, the robot version of him, that's the bad guy.
That's the bad one.
So then Kong gets up and like does the whole like his shoulders out of place, and so he bangs it against the building and sets it, and then he's ready to go. And then he gets his axe, and then Godzilla and King Kong are able to team up and defeat Mechagodzilla in a pretty short fight. That one didn't last too long.
Well, I mean, Mechagodzilla stands a chance against the two of them together.
That's true. That's true. So we got, Godzilla purposely charging up the axe, and then King Kong pretty much just slices Mechagodzilla to bits. Grabs his skull and just holds it up.
And then we get Godzilla and Kong exchanging some very meaningful glances, kind of nodding and acknowledging their forbidden love for one another, love that cannot be. And they part their separate ways. And then we get Kong just like chilling out in his new home in Hollow Earth, going like, I'm the king of this place.
He's the king.
I go straight to Hong Kong anytime I want.
The giant hole. Yeah. It
kind of ended pretty kind of like abruptly and...
Yeah, I actually wrote that down in my notes. I said, well, that ending was sudden.
And we're done.
Like the humans were, they went back. Millie Bobby Brown went back to her dad, who randomly showed up. I don't even remember. The scientist people were studying Kong in the Hollow Earth. And then, the movie was done. And no post-credit scene or anything like that.
Nope.
It's just, that was it.
They should do like a buddy film now, like Godzilla and Kong, where they're like a buddy cop film, but they're like, monster cops. They're just like roaming around.
Yeah. Maybe they can have like Cthulhu show up or something like that they have to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Thinking monsters. But, yeah, so it was, there was stuff that I wasn't crazy about. Mainly the humans. Not crazy about the humans, but I loved the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff.
It was fun. Look, monster movies, there was a time where they were like very much in vogue. And, the first Kong movie like was 1933. I think the first Godzilla movie was in the 50s or maybe the late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of versions of these two characters. We've been through the history of monsters. You got your Draculas, vampires, werewolves, swamp things, blobs. But there just haven't really been a lot of like new monsters. I mean, even like someone like Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees from like those successful horror franchises. Those have really all kind of gone away. I mean, now it's been replaced more like where the reality is that the scarier thing for people nowadays is the reality that the monsters are people that look just like us.
Yeah.
And so that's been more of like the horror genre. I mean, like if you look at the way that these movies are labeled, in the 70s and the 30s and the 60s, you might see a little horror tag next to them, like this was scary a little bit. And, then you see Peter Jackson's and it's like a drama adventure and like, it's action adventure. And really this, I mean, in a way, like this could feel like the Hulk battling someone in a Marvel film. That same kind of feeling of like smashing into buildings and oversized strength versus oversized strength. It's not as uncommon now, just the way that the cinema has like the direction cinema has gone over the last decade or two.
Sure.
It's not to see like these really like powerful creatures battling it out. We see that all the time with these comic book movies. So it was neat to have that kind of presented, I think, with a different package, so instead of having like these, godlike heroes battling, we get these kind of monsters, this like throwback to the monster days, and they get having them battle it out. That was really cool. It was a lot of really great visuals, a lot of really, fun to watch fight scenes. So yeah, it was like a really enjoyable movie from that angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the plot is a little on the weak side, and the character development was definitely on the weak side. And like I'm not really complaining. Like I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth here, but like, do I want like this to be like a real? Do I need to know the trauma that Millie Bobby Brown's character is feeling from the loss of her mother or brother? Like, do I want to watch like a 20-minute sequence of her and her dad like having therapy sessions and like really getting into like the heart of their characters? Do I want to watch a funeral for like the hundreds and thousands or maybe millions of people who are dying in these?
Millions of people in Hong Kong died.
That's not what we're here for. That's not why we're putting this on. So don't get me wrong here. Like I don't want that in here, but it's certainly not in here. I think there's ways, like some small tweaks. Maybe it could have been a little bit more meaningful in like some of the presentations. I do think that one of the reasons why monster movies used to be so popular is it allowed us to kind of take a look at ourselves as a society and maybe see some of the things that we get wrong. So like the story of Frankenstein is monster, and like who was the real monster after all? And maybe it was the mob and the people, or even like the original Godzilla, and like, the pollution and the thing, like there's more of like a take a look at yourself society, because maybe we're the problem, and just kind of like maybe more of a little bit of a way that the humanization of monsters and forcing ourselves to see that. And now there's like it's like the flip of that, where like they appear human, but then like the monsters within, and you're not really sympathizing too much with the slashers or the Saw guy, or
sure
Jigsaw or whatever. Anyway, but I liked it.
Yeah. Good. Now I don't believe that they've announced any sequels or anything like that. Is this a franchise you hope that they continue, or are you feeling kind of good to leave it as is?
Look, if the scripts are good, if you're gonna give me like a bet, like I like this one probably the best out of all of them.
Okay.
Maybe this or Skull Island. Don't give me the Godzilla King of the Monsters again, because that one was less enjoyable for me. But yeah, look, I'm a give me movies kind of guy, and if they're good, I'll like them, and if they're not, like, no skin off my nose. I always say to my kids, better to have a jacket and not need it than to need a jacket and not have it. I can guarantee you that if they don't make any more of these, they will not be good, because they will not exist.
Sure.
So the only way that we could possibly get another really great Godzilla or King Kong movie is if they make another one. But with that, you run the risk of them being really, really awful. So I'm if they do, I hope it's good, and I will definitely watch it and give it a chance. But I don't know. Are there more stories that need to be told? I don't know. I wouldn't mind watching Kong and Middle Earth battling prehistoric things again, I guess.
Yeah.
Just don't, I don't know. They need to do something more interesting with the people, so they can have the people in these. Maybe just monsters. Can we just have like a straight movie, like maybe like an old like throwback to like the original Godzilla type people versus the Kong type people, like way back in the day, prehistoric. No people around. It's just like who's ruling the planet. I'd watch that.
Sure.
Maybe like a little narration. Back in the early days of the planet, roaming the earth. Or get like a Morgan Freeman type to narrate it.
Oh, there you go.
Someone who's got a little more gravitas than this sounding voice. Yes.
Yeah, I hope that they
in
make
time.
more. And I don't know. I know that this movie, box office wise, has done well for the current situation.
Right? It's kind of a weird rating system right now.
And so, I don't know how they're judging movies, based on box office, or, how much they're factoring in, like the streaming numbers. I don't know. Yeah. So I would love to see more of these, though. I would love to see, I would like to see maybe a little bit more done with the humans. Let's maybe like streamline a little bit. If we had like one group of humans that could be in there, I think that would be good.
Just get rid of the humans, Brody. Well, remember when Transformers had like the random like humans in the cartoon? There's like a dad and a son. Like, get those. What are they doing here? Get them out of here. Nobody wants to see those.
But the Transformers,
the worst part of it.
The Transformers also talked. You didn't need the humans to explain stuff, because you had Transformers who could communicate.
You have a narrator, Brody. This guy. Remember, in a world And here comes Kong, representing his group of gorilla-type Kong people. And here comes Reptilia from the phylus of, hole diggers with laser breath.
We could bring Rebecca Hall back. Bring Rebecca Hall and Gia back, and I'd be fine with that. I liked them.
Okay, fine. Fine, we can do that.
I did. You know what also made me laugh was the coward thing that.
Yeah, that was funny.
That Skarsgård did to the girl when he called her a coward, but he thought he was calling her brave, but he was calling her a coward.
Let's be clear. It's important to be clear, Brody.
So, but
there
yeah,
you have it.
I liked it. I look forward to watching it again with my kids.
Let us know if you watched it. What'd you think? If you didn't watch it, why didn't you? And let's start a dialogue, people. Brody is officially ready to listen. I'm going to give out his phone number right now, and you guys can text him or email him at brody@talktalkpunch.com. You can just go ahead and fire him as many direct messages as you want about any subject, really. You can talk to him about beard oils. He will recommend some fantastic beard oils. He uses a lot of different oil in his beard. I mean, it's like a spill in there every now and then. Oh man, a penguin gets caught in there. It's very sad. Pelican or something. It's really tragic. All that beard oil.
Why are there
dripping
penguins in my beard?
That's a great question, Brody. Because you visited Hollow Earth, and that's where the penguins live, bro. You gotta. Anyway, so let us know below if you enjoyed the film and if you would like there to be more.
Yeah.
And maybe drop us a ranking. What do you, like of the 4 MonsterVerse films? What was your favorite? What was your least favorite?
How would you rank these, Charlie?
This one, Skull Island, Godzilla 14, King of the Monsters. Yeah. I really didn't like King of the Monsters very much. I'm sorry. The monster stuff was cool, but I was really irritated by the human plot.
I think I'd probably go the same. I really like Skull Island. I don't know if I would put this or Skull Island ahead. I don't know. But then I'd probably go King of the Monsters and then Godzilla 2014.
Her literal plan was to have this guy come and kill all her scientist friends.
Yeah.
And they're just walking into the room, firing their machine guns willy-nilly and killing everyone. And her daughter just happened to have walked out. And she's basically like, no, don't come out here. Go back in there. And she would have just been shot in the head. And that was her plan. I mean, like the whole thing. There were, like, I don't mind some plot holes in my monster films, but there were gaping, infuriating holes in that one.
But the Godzilla versus King Ghidorah fights were very cool.
Like, the fights were cool, but like the rest of it felt very excruciating. So that just, to me, that was more uneven. At least in this one, like, I can nitpick along the way, but it flew by.
Sure.
Right? Like, I didn't feel like it bogged the movie down. I feel like in King of the Monsters, it really felt like sludgy to get through. Like, I felt every minute passing as it was ticking on the clock between fight scenes is like, oh my gosh. Oh, don't try to make it make sense. Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I interrupted your outro. So.
Oh, no, I did it. Buy Brody. Brody. Go to Brody.com. Buy his beard oil. It's got his picture on it.
Don't go there. I don't know.
Go to theBrodyMan.com. Check it out.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Oh man, that was such a good website. Archive. Go to the archives. You can find it from like the 90s.
You might.
All right. Well, let us know below and watch some of our other videos, please.
Yes.
We really appreciate the support. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us.
For sure.
And I'm talking directly to you. You know who you are. You know who you are because you're the only one